Episode 5, drafting, recording, editing, and release. They're the 4 areas that I consider whenever I'm putting video out there. Welcome to episode 5. We're going to be touching on all those different areas. So for me, whenever I'm putting blog posts together, whenever I'm thinking about doing a video, first thing I do is come up with a title. I don't try and complete the whole thing there and then. I don't come up with keywords or tags. I just come up with what I'm going to do a video about. So for instance, I use a great application called Evernote, and I've created loads of different notebooks. And in those notebooks, I have my gadget show. We have a 6x6, we have Web Nation, we have all these different things that we're working on, different shows that we're working on. And collaboratively, we put in our different apps, we put in our different information, we put on our different sites that we're going to look and review later on in the week. And we don't focus on making sure it's perfect there and then. We sort of work on it over time. The drafting process is the super simple part because it's just time. It's just time to work on the title, to work on the content. The hardest part for me is the recording process because there are so many areas that can go wrong. Audio problems in terms of setting up the mic goes off, it's not working properly, the levels are bad. Video problems, there's lighting problems. I always get a little bit sort of worried and concerned when that kind of thing happens. I've just had a pop-up come up on my screen. Things like that. Distractions that happen while you're trying to do the recording of video. So one of the things I would say is make sure that you've got your recording process locked down. It might be even useful to just have a computer dedicated for just doing recordings. We've got 2 studio lights that are attached to a ceiling grid above us, rather than freestanding on the floor, because we found that a lot of people were bumping into them and knocking them over, including ourselves. Having fixed position lights, being able to walk into a space, turn your lights on, and have the knowledge that your lights are all sorted and ready to go. If you extrapolate that and start to do it for your video camera, for your audio, for your computer, before long, find yourself in a situation where you have a set perfect, ready to go to record content. Another thing I should mention in the drafting and the recording phase is that I keep a storyboard of locations of places that I would like to record at, cafe bars and certain streets and places that have really nice scenery in the background. There is other issues that you need to sort of entertain when you go on location: background noise, wind blowing down your mic, and you need to get sort of a muff thing for the end of your mic. But I do keep a storyboard of places when I go around my local city to say, oh, I'd like to record a video there. Try and keep a mental note of places that would look good on video. Document and tell people a little story about the background and the environment, because a lot of people watching a video are sort of not just watching the person and what they look like, they're listening to what you're saying, but they're also looking at the scenery and things that are going on in the background. And you might find that somebody starts up a conversation because of that. So the editing phase, I have to tell you that I'm a bit of a newbie. I still use iMovie, the latest iMovie, but I am using it on the latest iMac 2013 and it runs absolutely beautifully. I've got a lot of learning, a lot of catching up to do. I'm looking at buying Final Cut Studio X, which is about £200, so it's not a small investment, and there's a lot of stuff in there that I probably don't use at the moment, don't know about, and I'm not sure if I want to be a full-time editor. One of the questions that you need to ask yourself when you're doing all this sort of drafting and editing and distribution is, can you do it all? Do you need to build a team of people who can help you actually put this stuff out there? As a side, I'll be doing a bunch of little iMovie clips for people to get started. I think it's one of the applications that is reasonably priced, that you can get from the App Store, that most people will turn to quickly put a video together. If you're the sort of person that wants to buy a video camera and wants to do the whole process themselves, so they know how long it takes, so when they employ somebody or when they get a team together, they know how much is involved to get a piece together, then iMovie is a good starting point. I'll be doing some little tutorials about getting the most out of iMovie coming up in January. A real great time saver is making sure that you've got templates ready to go. After you've done your drafting process, after you've done your shooting process, when you're in your edit phase, I keep little templates inside different projects. So I've got all these different folders in iMovie, and inside each iMovie inside each folder, I've got a template for each project, which has my intro, my outro already in there. Building a template ahead of time, then duplicating the template and then dropping in your content. It's going to be difficult to give you a fully fledged releasing distribution plan at the end of this video, but I'm going to give you a few areas where I publish my content. I tend to put a copy on my blog. I tend to use Wistia for the video embed for that. Copy on YouTube to drive some traffic, drive some SEO in terms of people searching for it. I also use Pinterest, putting a link to an image that's in my blog post into a board, into a group, so that people can see that I've posted something to my blog. There's lots of different ways ways to distribute your content around a web. Things like Buffer app is fantastic for scheduling different times. If you're based in the UK, based in Europe, you want to sort of get an audience to the US, you need to sort of time shift when your tweet goes out. So it might be that you have 2 tweets, one for Europe, one for the US. Do read the blog post. I've put loads of other little tips and hints in there. And if there's any questions that you have, at Phil Campbell on Twitter, and I will catch up with you in episode 6.